Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Snazzypicklez coming to you from the Great White North once again, and I'm going to be talking about some Guild Wars today. So, if you've seen my previous videos a while back, maybe like a month or two ago, you will know that I do play Guild Wars 2, and I like to play Guild Wars 2. Well, at least I used to until um, about a month or two ago when I stopped making videos about it. So, the main reason for this is because and as may some of you will know, Guild Wars 2 has really come down in popularity, and there's not really much to do in it anymore. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why Guild Wars 2 is kind of getting bashed by the community, as well as some other YouTubers, and just in general, I don't think it's as good of a game as it was at launch. So I hope you guys see some of my points, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I got a list here that I'm just going to read off a few points and elaborate on them a bit. So my first point is that there's no set role, like a DPS healer or tank, kind of the trio that is used in a lot of games such as WoW, Terra, the list goes on. Lots of MMOs use this formula, and Guild Wars 2 decided not to use this formula and instead kind of make other classes be able to do damage, and also heal themselves as well. Now this is awesome if it's your first character and you're kind of a low level, because you can try out all the classes and they basically suit everyone's playstyle, and they kind of, smush it together a bit. But I found as I tried new classes, they all felt kind of the same to me because of this. If you try out a class such as a healer, there will be a very big different play style than the DPS or tank roles. This kind of creates a problem in Guild Wars 2 because it makes the other classes feel repetitive, and just especially Guardian and Warrior, like those are to me almost the same. But anyways, yeah, if Guild Wars 2 kind of made the classes a little bit different, so like one class a little bit more healing than the others, that would have been great. One class, a little bit more on the tanky side, and people could play, maybe a DPS tank. I don't know, like they could really mix it up then. But now it's kind of just like all the classes are the same, especially in dungeons. There's no real set role that you're going to be doing. Like I think it's more fun to be healing someone, and be that designated role and have that responsibility when you're in dungeons or raids or something. And I'll get to raids in a second, and dungeons as well. But yeah, because you can have different roles in dungeons as well. So I don't know. Guild Wars 2 went with kind of a different model, and it works out in some places, but it doesn't in others. So that's that. Second point is there's little endgame to me. I'll kind of elaborate on this a bit later, but little endgame, there's no raids. There's no, your armor is not really going to help you in any ways. Like endgame armor might boost your stats a little bit, but if you just have those like cheap uniques, or even like green masterwork or rares, it's not really going to make a huge difference compared to the really pricey exos or exotics. I personally have the full Nightmare set, and it's exotic, but the only reason I got it was because I like the look of it, the Nightmare set. So that is for a little endgame. Dungeons really have no purpose to me, other than the exotic weapons and armor. I don't really see why you need to do dungeons. Again, these armors and weapons that you get don't really have an effect on your overall damage, and after a couple times, the dungeons feel repetitive because of, as I said before, you're basically playing the same role in every single dungeon, which I feel, it just gets repetitive to me. And also, there's no real big bosses in any dungeons like in some other games. You've got like your little bosses. I like the boss at the end of the Living Story dungeon. At the end of the actual story of the Living Story, It's it was a two mechanical guys or whatever. That was a pretty good boss fight. It was hard and I liked it, but all the other regular dungeons, the eight I think that there's not really any difference, major difference between them. So the next point is gear does virtually nothing, so there's no point in getting it, and you can get the end game gear very easily. So gear, as I said before, it really does nothing, and the end game gear you can really get with 10 gold, which is pretty easy to make in this game. I made about 5 gold in an hour from a glitch earlier, and I think it was at the level 75 to 80 zone next to a raw. I forget what it was called. I forget what it's called. I haven't played in a while, but yeah, there was a glitch there about a month ago. So even taking advantage of their screw ups, I mean, you could still make a lot of gold that way, and you can also make a lot of gold legit by just merching or getting stuff from dungeons and just reselling it. So end game gear very easy to get. Next point is there's little motivation to do any world events anymore. I mean, like the bosses, such as Tekettle or Tequaddle, Jormag, and the Shatterer. Yeah, I've done them all. I've done them all a few times. It was fun. Definitely, those are awesome bosses. I liked their how big to scale they were, and it really felt like you were fighting something. But again, there's only like 3, and then there's like smaller bosses, but I don't really care about those. They give a decent amount of experience, but most people are already 80, so you don't really need that. They give karma, I guess, but no one really uses karma after they took out karma to gold, and they give very little amounts of gold or silver, I guess, and the rewards that you get actually are terrible. You are lucky to get. Actually, no, they updated it so you automatically get a unique, I think, which you could sell for like 20 silver, and then everything else is either rare or sometimes you may get a masterwork. It depends, and the chance of getting a precursor from those world bosses is so bad that there's no real point in going to it. I mean, they happen like every 3 hours, and maybe you can get like 3 in 3 hours because maybe they have a little bit of a time difference, but like there's no real motivation to do them, as I said before. What I would like to see from these world events is I actually came up with a kind of a method in my own kind of way. So say if you're fighting the Shatterer and then you didn't kill it, you don't really kill it currently anyways, but you don't kill it, and after you damage it enough, it flies away. Now, in which direction it flies, you will know where it's going next. So say if it flew from, I think it's the Blaze Ridge Steps or something, it flew west, then you would know, like west and kind of like directly horizontal west, it's going to Holbrick, so you would tele to Holbrick, and then you'd wait there, and then the Shatterer would actually come to Holbrick, and it would start tearing up the city. And if you didn't kill it in time, then the whole city would be in ruins, and none of the merchants or anyone would be available. And I think that's a real consequence for you not doing the world events. So, I mean, that's a reason to do the world events, is to keep your world intact. So, I thought that was a pretty good kind of situation there. And also, there would be Jormag and the other dragons doing that too. So, they should also add more dragons, I thought, as well. They've only really, there was 3 there, and they really need to add more of those, I think, because if they did something like I said, it would be awesome. My phone's going off. Crap. Anyways, my next point is there's not enough events. These events not being actual events in the game, but actual things that they put into the game that make sense, because there's been Living Story for months. There was a Living Story for months, and no one really cares about Living Story. They should add events that will get you more gold than you regularly would. So, like, a special dungeon that you'll be able to do. Now I know that they did that with this newest patch, but I haven't really looked into it. So the pirate dungeon or whatever. So if they did that, then that's cool. But that's one of my suggestions. The My Story thing gets stale after the second time you do it. It is an okay story for an MMO. It is definitely better than some, like Maple Story. I played my first character, got it up to 80, played my second, got it up to 50, and played my third, and then that's where it really got stale for me. I knew that basically what was going to happen all the time. It really funnels down to one thing at the end, and I already knew that, so I didn't really want to go forward with it. I felt no motivation to do that as well, because the rewards for My Story, yeah, you get a level or two, but no real actual rewards from the My Story. Um, Due to armor doing virtually nothing, there is little character customization throughout the game. So during MMOs, your main customization of your character, other than the actual first thing, is through your equipment. Now, what Guild Wars 2 does, it really doesn't incorporate this into the game because the equipment really doesn't do much, as I said before. So examples are Terra and MapleStory. I keep going back to these because these are MMOs that I've actually played like enough to reference to them. So both of these have like percent and tons of stat bonuses to them. So like in MapleStory, you always want to get that percent of whatever stat you need, and it takes a lot to get it. There's always weapon attack and stuff associated with it. And in Terra, I think there's a plus enhancements or whatever they're called. And if you get like plus 12, it's like crazy or whatever, and it boosts your stats a lot. Next point is Terra keeps you engaged with skills being unlocked until 60. I think that's the max level, I'm not sure. And then Guild Wars only unlocks them until 30. So again, with character customization, you really know what you're putting yourself into after you've only gotten into 30 levels. Because really, you get your elite skill at 30, and you know which one you're already going to get because you can see it. And that's about it, you know. There's nothing really else to do skill-wise for the next 50 levels, which I feel they should really change. I mean, like, they should really space it out so that, and block it out so you don't know what the skills of the next tier you're actually going to get. Now, obviously, people know that now, but at the beginning, they should have done that. There are no raids. Guild Wars 2 tried to replace it with big world events and the events, but the events seem worthless now, and the world events as well, as I said before, after you've done them for a while. So raids, they require lots of teamwork, they require you to be invested into the game, and they require guilds to actually be active and actually have a community. So Guild Wars really just doesn't have any of this. I don't really have any more things to say about this topic. I mean, raids, there's nothing really in Guild Wars that compensates for raids. So I don't know what they're going to be able to do to in the future to compensate for that. They should really add something like it, because I feel like 30 people in a raid is awesome. I feel I don't know, I just feel it's really cool. Anyways, those are all my points. This is my opinion of the game, so I hope you guys don't take it in the wrong way. I just felt like I had to get my feelings out about it, because at the beginning of Guild Wars, I really liked it. I mean, like, this MMO, aside from MapleStory, I've played it the most, but I really enjoyed it, and I just feel now it's getting repetitive, and there's nothing for me to do. So, I hope you guys feel kind of the same way, and I hope there's no backlash for this. Hope not. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and I hope to see you guys later. So, see you.